I'm Jon Altschuler.
I'm Scott Bennett. We've known each other for almost 50 years.
We grew up together on the playground.
And now we're in the foreground and still growing up.
From the playground to the foreground.
Join the conversation. Well, 2025, Jon.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, buddy.
Thank you.
Good things this year.
Yeah.
Excited. I think we've the fact that we're in a new year with the podcast should tell the world that everything's right. Episode 11.
Yeah.
We're counting all of them like I count every day. And excited to hear a little bit. I know you had some travels and excited to hear what you did over the holiday. So I know you were in New York. Well, you told me you were going to go to New York and you might go to Paris.
Yeah.
Who goes to Paris?
We did both.
Yeah, I saw.
And I went to Happy Valley. SMU, Penn State.
Yeah. We talked about that, but you didn't get there.
No.
I have heard since we talked about it. So what happened?
We got blocked.
Well, so explain what you mean you got blocked.
We had a 30-passenger plane flying out of Dallas Love Field, scheduled to arrive at Happy Valley FBO
right
at 10:05, and they said, you're going to Johnstown.
You couldn't land the plane.
The pilots were not allowed to land the plane.
Yeah. Now, do you think that was, I asked you about it, you sort of flippantly told me, do you have any more information on it? I do know that other people, I ran into some other SMU people who chartered a plane, who told me they did not get there at all. You said you got there at the fourth quarter.
6 minutes to play.
Yeah. Well, so you were there at the most important part of the game.
Well, it was over.
It was over.
It was fun.
Yeah. You're probably glad you didn't see it.
I don't know. I would rather have been there than do what we did.
Yeah. But as is the case, it was a lot, SMU had a great season. We talked about that in our last episode and proud of them. My Longhorns are still living to fight another day. I'm going on Friday. Yeah.
With Brad Ramsey.
Oh, good for you. Good for you. Well, we should talk about that. Maybe arrange to, hopefully we get there safely with the inclement weather.
I'm not driving.
Oh, you're not. Yeah. Well, but you're getting there by vehicle, right?
I told Brad I would go if he could get me there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're excited. I hope some of the Ohio State fans don't struggle to get here. I think for the players, I hope the weather cooperates. I will say again, it is the curse of Jerry Jones, showing itself that in an event at his beloved temple, there are some issues, just like the Super Bowl. So I don't know what that's about. If there's a higher power, but what do you think about that?
I think it's crazy.
That's just crazy.
I'm not mad at him.
No. I know you're not. I know you saw. You're still in line. Well, as is the case, Jon, I think we probably commented along. You're known, I think, among all of your circles that you don't like to use heat, air conditioning. You're an efficient player, and we are in some pretty cold temperatures for Dallas right now. I'm curious what the thermostat is set at in your house.
Well, first of all, I love air conditioning.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah. So my AC is always on.
But your heat is never on.
Heat rarely on.
And what's it at today?
I've kind of buckled on this now.
Okay.
I'm a little soft.
Well, so for show and tell, I brought something in. I brought a couple of items. We're going to do one now. I wanted you to see what my thermostat is at because I figured since I'm soft.
Oh, that's terrible. Way too hot.
Yeah, it's too high.
73.
73 during the and nobody's home.
That's stupid.
Yeah, I know. I'm heating the house and nobody's home. I want it to be toasty when I get there.
Well, then do that 10 minutes before you
arrive.
I know.
I honestly, this is from last night, but I know that this is a big topic.
That's what you do when you hate money.
Yeah, that's right. When you don't have a good relationship, you just turn it up. I'm the guy that's making all the problems for ERCOT is what you're saying. Right? No, but I know that you have this, and as is our first episode on perhaps the coldest day in some time, the guy, you will inevitably, for years when it's gotten cold, show people how tough you are. Yeah. You'll have your shorts on. Everybody else will be bundled up, right?
I wore shorts to Happy Valley on the plane.
You don't have shorts on today, do you?
No.
Yeah. Okay. You wore shorts on the plane, but you changed?
I did.
Okay. Tell me about Paris real quick. I know saw some amazing pictures. I was following your whole trip.
It was great. It's 6 nights there. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Hotels.
Stayed in 2 hotels.
Yeah. And anything new? I mean, you've been so many times. What stood out for you this particular trip?
I had a great family dinner. We had all 6 of us go to 2 friends who we met through social media. And they hosted us to a wonderful dinner, and we all sat together for 2 hours, and my family doesn't do it a lot.
No.
So it was nice. And
I also saw the obligatory, if you caught the good lighting and got the family photo, that was one of my favorite moments of the pictures that you chronicled. There was a particular, I think you posted, it was like everybody was sort of, the light was perfect, and I know how you are about taking pictures. So you go, we had to snap a picture. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, well, but for the people who don't know, there was 3 people looking at the camera and 2 who were not.
Yeah, right. But the light was good. That's all that mattered. Yeah. That's funny. Well, anything you brought for show and tell?
Yeah.
Oh.
Happy Chanukah.
Wow. I might cry again.
I know.
Episode Rolando, and for the people that are here, might be our guests, a little tease. I cried in one of our episodes. I might cry. Should I open it now?
You should.
Okay. I'm excited. Oh.
I got asked 10 times in New York if I was Jewish, by the way.
Oh, right. Yes. Okay. And okay, so I'm so excited. I think I know what this is. Unlock your limited potential. That's incredible. Incredible. And we said we could cuss, so we haven't cussed very much on our podcast, but fucking ace notebook. These are incredible.
I just liked them.
Yeah.
I liked them.
And Jon once got me a lot of years ago that I've mentioned in a previous episode, this leather bound. He has this fascination with stationery, and I carry that thing around and was very, very judicious about the notes I will put in it. So these will last for like 3 years. I will only write important things. And our guest is going to be on today, so I'm going to get a pen out and start taking notes because this guest, I want to save some notes.
You want an autograph?
Yeah, I want an autograph
yeah.
and some notes in so that's going to be the first thing that happens with one of these.
Excellent.
So, Jon, this is super nice. I feel bad. I feel like the guy that didn't get a gift. But last thing I want to say is I enjoyed coming to your house over the holidays for the cookie
it's
exchange.
fun.
And our producer and I brought cookies. And I don't want to bring it up in the rest of the podcast, but we want an answer in the next episode on why our cookies never made it onto the table. We're a little upset about it.
We don't think you made the cookies. You store-bought those.
Well, yeah, we didn't. But we thought they were potentially the best cookies. So is that the answer? Did you check into it?
I just felt like I think store-bought. Patricia's not putting that on the table, right?
I thought it was because there was too many other cookies. We were so late, there was no room.
That's the reason.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, we were upset about it, but we had a great time. I think it was the 20th anniversary of doing that.
Next year's.
Okay, I'm coming.
Yeah, we're gonna blow it out. We're blowing it out.
Yeah, big things. I'm gonna dress up as something. Okay. I don't know yet, but something. And thanks that was fun before you left. So
you're welcome.
I am super excited about our guest today. Any tease for the guest before we get out of it? I mean, is this going to be this
boyhood idols?
Yeah. This is me in fangirl mode right here. Yeah. I was up at like 3 a.m. thinking about what I was going to wear. It was going to be impressive. I got a basketball out, held it for about an hour. So excited about this. Anyway, I can't wait and looking forward to it.
To connect with today's guest, NBA great Rolando Blackman, you can find him on Instagram at Rolando Blackman 22.
Our guest is Rolando Blackman, a boyhood hero of Scott's and of mine. Rolando, great to have you on the show.
Super to be here, guys. Super to be here for sure.
Well, I got to say, Jon, I mean, I thought this might not even happen. We might not get into the year, and we kick off the year with number 22.
That's right.
I mean, 9-year-old Scott right now is like beyond excited. Wow. I mean, I know you guys have been friends. You've mentioned over the years, and I know I've seen some of the things you posted and talked a little bit about your admiration more as an adult, but I know because we were kids how much we love our Mavericks. I mean, I think when you got to Dallas, I was 9 years old, but I guess my first question, and Jon, you might know more. I was consuming so much about you. I feel like I know you better than you, but I know that's not true. But just for maybe people who don't know you, kind of 90 seconds, introduce yourself to the world again. And not that you have to, you need no introduction in my opinion, but love to just hear.
Listen, the fun flavor of everything is that I'm an immigrant. I always say that all the time too. I came to the United States at the age of 8 from Panama City, Panama. And the important factor with that is to be able to know and understand that this country did a heck of a lot for me at the beginning of time in 1967. The educational system, everything was ready. No, estoy hablando la lengua de español, solamente no hablo ninguna palabra en inglés. I'm speaking Spanish. Yeah. I'm trying to understand this thing. It's 1967. The world is upheaval. There's the Vietnam War. There's fighting for Black power, this and rights and all kinds of stuff. Malcolm and it was something a little kid. I didn't understand exactly what was going on. And the number one thing was all this damn concrete. Where's the greenery? Where are the trees? Where are the things that I just come from? All the fruit trees. It was a mental upheaval that first year, trying to understand this environment that I was in, that my grandmother told me was going to be better for me in order to try to do the things that I needed to do or wanted to do in coming to America.
Well, wow. I knew that you were from Panama. I remember immediately identifying. As has been said in earlier episodes, Jon and I love basketball. I think we share a passion and love for that. This was our original team. I'm a Dallas native. Jon's a Dallas native. But I love that you started off there. And I think you saw our show and tell that Jon gave me, you were witnessing. I'm limited in my potential. What do you think of that? Because you are completely unlimited. So like we're polar opposites, I guess.
I thought it was extremely funny. I mean, when I look at that whole thing, it says unlock your limited potential. And I just told Jon, damn, I mean, if you have to get a book to unlock something that you're not even using yet and it's limited, what the heck is going on?
Right.
So it was, it's always very special when you look at that kind of thing, because all the time I had a great group of people helping me all the time. So it wasn't something that I was doing on my own or something that just happened. I had lots of good people around me, infusing a lot of great thoughts and activities that helped me to grow. Well, very important.
I also know, I looked at, I mean, I could have spent hours I enjoyed doing more research than I've ever done on any guest. Not that all of our guests are fascinating. We've been so fortunate and blessed in doing this to have amazing friends, both Jon and I, who come and visit with us. But to go through again all of the records that you set, do you ever take a look back and I'm sort of curious at the top of this, like, do you take time to sort of look back on a regular basis at not only what you did coming as an immigrant, but just in the game now as part of the organization at the levels leading the business of it? Like, do you?
Yeah, but the thing about it for me is that I don't do too much looking back, because I walk in it. I know what was done and how this whole thing got started, how the opportunity came, and being able to not only be a pro, but also to being able to elevate the things that were happening here in Dallas, to get a doggone team here.
Yeah.
To have people walk and look around in your face and say, well, basketball? Is there a team here? And then they went back to like, oh, is that the Chaparrals? I'm like, no. This is the Dallas Mavericks, and we're going to come up here and play basketball, and we're going to move forward. The NBA assignment for having the promotions was about 6 each player had to do. We were doing 32 to 40 everywhere, all over. I was back to practice outside Fort Worth, going down to Arlington. I was everywhere, all over the place, trying to bring this game up. But I think what was most important about the whole thing is that when we talked to the people, we were able to show them also that there were good players here too, because we would never have made it if we did not have the kind of players that could actually compete in the league and actually get awards and be accorded at the highest levels also. So it was something special, and I had a lot of fun doing that, because I met a lot of people along the way. Yeah.
I'm just curious, like, as you think about it, and we knew when he was going to be our guest, we didn't have that much notice, and I'm so grateful that you agreed to do this. But what was your memory? Like, I know what I was like visualizing, I was looking at your stats, but I was honestly just thinking about how you played the game, like physically watching you. You talked about finger rolls, like some of the shots that you would make. I just felt like, I specifically remember your free throw style. What do you remember about him?
Well, I remember that free throw style too. I emulated that in junior high, actually.
Yeah.
But I think what I remember the most about Rolando is how he carries himself.
Yeah.
You always carried yourself in a way that was different than most athletes. I felt like you were a gentleman, you were a leader, you were dedicated, and you just set an example for everybody in the city, which I appreciated, especially now.
I appreciated that also. That came from my mom, though. I mean, I just covered and also covered all the time with the beating down of the things that society needed. You're in America now. You're this and that and the other. And it was a situation where I had great people like Ted Gustis, people teaching me the requirements of inclusion and the opportunities to being able to be a part of the American society. I was an altar boy for 4 years also too. So I was an altar boy, and I can remember those great years of bliss, taking karate, playing basketball, and going back and forth to the church right inside of Brooklyn, New York. And it was a thing where I felt those 6-7 years were the most calm years of my life, where I was truly focused on learning the language of English and being able to speak and understanding what is actually the word. Is it the? Is it duh?
Right.
Is it them? Is it them?
Right.
Is it those? Is it, what is it? And being able to now be put together by the teachers inside the school that was a different piece of the puzzle from what was happening in the street. And they were able to teach me the way, the path, the understanding, and then to also open up the pathway to talk to me about the highways of having to be successful and what I needed to do. And believe me, I'm in 1967 New York. and people are telling me all these types of things back and forth. And the, being in Brooklyn, New York, you got to be cool. You got to have some swag. You got to this and that and the other. And when you're saying the words the way that I'm saying the words and speaking cleanly and clearly and enunciating in the proper way, it puts you on the outside of everyone else. And that's a little pressure in itself also. So it's very, very difficult at many times to try to do what the school is telling you for your success and your movement forward, and then hanging with the fellas in the street and trying to have to go back and forth into the language pieces that go on. But I listen to the teachers.
I want to pick up on that real quick. It was interesting to watch Michael Jordan's Last Dance during COVID. Remember, it was 2 episodes a week.
Yeah.
And so they were interviewing Jordan as we've always known Jordan, like kind of the corporate Jordan reflecting on his time as a Bull. But they were showing tape of him oftentimes candid in the locker room, on the golf course, where he clearly had 2 different voices. He had the voice that he projected corporately to the country.
Yeah.
And he had the voice that wasn't a corporate voice, that was more reflective of who he was around when he was with the guys. And that was the only time I'd really seen that, or any of us had seen that.
Yeah. I also appreciated that. My daughter watched it 3 times, and I have 2 girls, but my younger daughter really, like, she says it's one of her favorite things she's ever saw, and she wasn't alive. Right. So like that's,
yeah, my kids loved it too.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like, and that was the time that you were in the league, right? So you can be playing against him. And, but I also think, to Jon's point, I think now, and I mentioned that, what we may touch on that in a minute about what the league and just being a pro means today. But the access that we didn't have, that we now do because of that, that we could see that, because we couldn't see that. We could read in the paper and we could see if it was live. Couldn't watch it back necessarily. We really didn't get to know that side of him. So,
but all of us have fun that way. It's all of us have fun being inside of a different culture. You know what I mean? When you come from a culture, an African American culture, those kinds of things too. It's a very different to get together, and everybody's having a great time, and the language is different.
Yeah.
The way to express yourself is very, very different. Now, when you come out on the street, that people call it cool, and you see all kinds of kids trying to do the same things and talk in the same way and dress in a certain kind of a way. But you just have to understand and how to differentiate that when the time comes for you to be internal to society. That's where the problem comes in a lot of times. People want to be cool. They want to act like they got it going on, and you want to look like this kind of a way. But the important thing is that you're going into a corporate job, a corporate scene, a situation that's there already. The rules and regulations have been put together. Do you meet the requirements of entry into someone else's piece of the puzzle here?
Yeah.
And those are the questions that need to be asked, and you need to be aware of that. Being aware of that, you can come from your friends and have some fun. Like we talk about the Cowboys games, and we running around telling me, oh, you're going to drive. Oh, man, the boy was cool. It was great. But once you get into a corporate setting, you can't come with that kind of a language. You can't come with those kinds of things simply because you can't. You got to have your brain power on to understand that language and the look has to change in order to get into someone else's structure. It's not yours. It's not your neighborhood structure. It's someone else's structure. And you have to understand that. If you understand that it's someone else's structure, you get a chance to understand what are his rules, their rules, requirements, to being able to be included inside of that, so that now you two can march and really have the opportunity to be inside of that and to grow in that area. You chose to come over here.
Right.
And there are rules and regulations to that for your ascension to take place.
So one thing I think would probably be interesting is what are you doing now? I mean, when I look at you, the amount of community service work that you have done, you're still doing a lot of that, but then professionally, how do you have time? You've been a broadcaster since your career. For those that don't know, you went to Kansas State Wildcats, right? You spent time in both Manhattans as a player.
Very much so. New York and Manhattan, Kansas.
That's right. Yes. So what are you doing these days? Like, how are you spending? I mean, how do you have time to do all the things? I mean, I looked at that. I was like, wow. I mean, you mentioned what you were required to do. I think that's maybe just it.
But it's the perfect time for me, Scott. It's the perfect time for me simply because I have the opportunity to back up from any basketball. I'm not a player anymore.
Right.
And then the more time taken is that I don't coach anymore and utilize all that time, because that's on the court before and after, where it takes up all of your time. So I'm a vice president of corporate relations, and I do diversity and inclusion for the Dallas Mavericks, and really have the opportunity to put myself in a place where I can now integrate and put myself in a place where I can work with the corporate structure at the team, also the season ticket holders, and I get a chance to do community development. So every time I get a chance to do community development, though, I try to uplift the special needs community, the people that don't have the opportunity. So I'm mostly running around a lot now in South Dallas and really having the opportunity to bridge the gap between people in North Dallas and South Dallas, and having these kids understand a little bit more about the requirement of their inclusion and the opportunity to raise the aptitude so that you can do the things you say you want to do. Everybody wants to have the great car, the great house, great. And in order for that, you have to have a certain income and an opportunity to be able to do that. But there are certain requirements in your speech, dress, your outlook, and your relational ability to make relationships, to be able to talk to people, enjoy. There's a certain kind of a thing that when you're in a street kind of a situation, you want to sit back and be cool, and making sure that when you go to some place that I'm gonna wait for them to talk to me first before I say anything. Somebody got to talk to me. No. In the reality of it is that you walk in that room and you're saying hello to everybody. There's 3 people talking over there. You break them up. You just boom, hello. I'm Rolando. How are you, Bill? William? Are you guys here? You guys know the host? You start to put yourself in that place. So by the time the whole event actually starts, you've met everybody, and they know. I know this guy is Rolando. Said hello to me. I don't know him. 15 people know you, other people don't, but at least you've introduced to everybody, and now you have a chance to now have a good thought process because you've given them a piece of yourself before the actual event started, and that's how you have to be really in today's world, and not be sitting over there in the corner where somebody, a key holder. Boss key holder, the one that can open the door to over here, just looks over there and sees you over there like he hasn't met you, doesn't know you. Right. He just and all of a sudden know what he does. He cuts off and goes right back to the people he's talking to, he's met, and all that kind of stuff. And you stay exactly where you when you came in. You're really inside the room, but you're really outside of the opportunity scope.
I sense a lesson here for us, which is no shot is too big, right? Like I think that you must be telling these young people because you did it. Right.
Just to raise the aptitude. To raise the level of their intake into what's going on. You have to be able to understand exactly what the situation is, not only speech and diction, but of clothing, wear, all the opportunities to be relational. Say hello to the guy with the yarmulke on the head. Say hello to the guy with the turban. Say hello to the guy over there. I know he's not from the culture. Like, oh man, there's a Caucasian guy over there. Go say hello. Go say hello. Hello? I'm Rolando Blackman, and you're Mr. Williams, and all that kind of stuff too. Are you here with Scott and Jon? Kind of stuff that you can get invited by them. Are you from here? You've got to be conversational so the person can get the chance to break that down, and then you get into each other. About what you're here. You're from here. You live over here. You like this and that kind of stuff. The more people get a chance to talk to me, they get a chance to understand that there's certain things I like. And there's certain things I don't like. You know what I mean? Not that I don't love Rangers baseball, but at the end of the day, what happens if I'll go to the game, if I'm going to a suite, but I'm not sitting there watching the pitcher throw to the catcher. I'm all game, and then it's getting hot, and I'm enjoying the game in the suite, but I'm not going to the game with you if we're just sitting out the seats and those kinds of things. And people know that I love tennis. I played tennis in high school. I played tennis all throughout my college time. I practiced with the college team, that kind of a thing.
You still play?
Oh, I just hit the ball now. I don't run. I don't run that much and all that kind of stuff too. But it's just a lot of fun. But my point is, in order to get to there, you get a chance to speak to people, and people get a chance to know you. This guy in the room, I just met him today, and that kind of a thing, which is very, very important if you're going to be moving yourself socially forward to the people who can actually open that door and make the decisions for you.
So it strikes me, Jon and I were pretty active. Jon was active. Let me be clear. I would go and watch Jon be active and sometimes get included. But we didn't spend a lot of time. We've talked about it in earlier episodes about social media. I'm just curious, with all the work that you're doing, how do you see social media? Because you talk a lot about interpersonal skills. I fundamentally believe, I think that's my greatest strength as a person. I'm not limited there. But what do you sense as you see this social media? Like, how is that interrupting the potential of these young children? Do you see that as a distraction problem, or do you see any benefit to it?
I think the whole thing is, I see it as a good and also as a detriment, simply because you have kids that I see and know that all of a sudden I've stopped opening up the book, reading a book, writing the report, sort of getting into the other pieces that will help them to grow, not only verbally, but mentally, and understanding a great deal of things that are going on around. But also I know that there are kids who don't even have a computer, who don't even get access to the things that they need to being able to grow. So my piece of the puzzle is to being able to talk to administrators, talk to people about having those tools that are necessary inside of those libraries. And I go even deeper, because I think that what's most important is that anybody that gets a chance to speak to your kid has to be a person that's valued and vaunted. I'm not saying having a person that's a nice old lady who cares about the kids but doesn't speak properly and doesn't have the opportunity to show the format to a third grade, fourth grade room, to being able to lift them up so that they understand this is what's required. You just can't grow up. You just can't do an assignment off of the board with the teacher speaking any kind of a way. You have to have the teacher speak the way that the society is moving forward. If you're doing your own thing and your dad is a multi-triple hundred billionaire, great, then you can do what the heck you want to do, because at the end of the day, you're covered. But at the end of the day, now the other kids have to know and understand that there's a certain level and rights of inclusion. And when you get into those types of things, some kids don't even have books. Some kids don't even have the application. Dallas is the only place, I think, for me, since I live here, that really aggravates the heck out of me, is that there's so many powerful people who understand what the heck is going on. You understand. You're not a dummy. You understand what the heck is going on. And I'm wondering all the time, like, damn, do something credible about it. Do something. Stop stop the lip service and patting on the shoulders. Garbage. Just if you want a certain kind of society, then do something about it.
I love it.
Do something viable, though. Stop the little side. Oh, I'm a member of this club and I'm a member of that club. So what? Last years, when the kids didn't have COVID and whatever the situation was, there were kids that didn't even have internet, didn't have computers. They were out of school for 2 years. I mean, we're in such a powerful state and powerful situation. Why don't they have the internet? Why don't they have the computers and all that stuff? Do something about it. Be viable about it. But it's not because the other side is because we have a race issue here in this city and this state. A race issue, a race help kind of a situation where you kind of sit back and don't kind of like help the other side in that kind of a thing, and that's for them to take care of. When it's a society we want to build, and if you want to build that society and you're powerful and you have that kind of a thing, then jump on over there and get those kids to understand a little bit more about the society and the requirements of what it means. If you want to come over here, this is what's happening. But and kids there, just like in Brooklyn, New York, they'll acquiesce to it. They'll acquiesce to it. That way you'll have a greater workforce. People will be able to understand a lot more. It's just a not be standoffish or be light in your, well, I have I'm with this club. So what? The club is like 15 people. I'm talking about helping a community to being able to rise up and to move forward. And also they can do that a little bit more economically also too. Ever since that cowboy debacle of not having the cowboy stuff in South Dallas, that's been a craw in my tail like crazy all over the place also too. Because economically, what I'm saying is that economically it would help the area to rise and to move forward. And smart people who have power and understand that, you know that. It's not like, oh, I didn't. You know that. So you know that if this thing, everything is in Arlington, just like, and you understand exactly what the situation is.
Rolando, everything's in Arlington, but nothing's in Arlington. In all candor. So like when I look at that Cowboy Stadium and I see what's around it, I'm kind of like, big deal. Like, I'm glad it didn't go to South Dallas, because now South Dallas has had 15 more years the city's had 15 more years to grow and flourish. We're now an international megapolis. Dallas,
but only for a certain community.
But we still have that asset that now we have the chance to do it really right. If it was just the Cowboy Stadium with surrounding parking and an entertainment venue, and
but I think
two bad hotels.
But I think the ship. I'm where you are. John knows. I think the ship sailed, and that was my big reason. I was a Dallas guy. I used to go to Fair Park, and I'm glad we got into this a little bit. It's been something. I'm glad you said it because I felt like it was a real missed opportunity for the city. I agree. I understand what you're saying, John.
It's a missed opportunity. If it's baseball that's used 82 games a year,
right,
or 81, I agree. Football is 9 games a year and a couple Taylor Swift concerts, and it doesn't have the same economic impact anywhere in the world. Just go look at the football stadiums.
But we had the basis of like legacy infrastructure in Fair Park. We had buildings and history of the city. We also had there was a lot that went on in history before any of us were here about the Black community, the Jewish community. There was just this real opportunity. I get it. I mean, maybe the city you and I
still have the opportunity.
Okay, well, I hope I think the three of us
I'm hoping for some people. The power core of people that I know, I see all the time to step into that void and being able to do that uplifting work to being able to help with the viability of jobs and businesses and also those kinds of things. Because every time I see something new, this and that and the other, every time I see something new at supermarket, all the places, it's never in a place that helps the people economically to move forward or an anchor position to being able now to build other businesses around it where people can now move forward. You go to places anyway. My main force that I have today is to be able to help in the educational process, the development of the mind, and to being able to be able to do that relationship wise, and being able to have the opportunity to show the kids that you can viably grow and have the opportunity to being able to be a part of something very, very special if you have these and this and these qualifications, which is mostly for me, the educational cycle and the relationship cycle of being able to come out into a format and express yourself. If you can do that, then you can really have the opportunity now to start moving in the direction that will open up more doors for you in that kind of a way. Dallas is kind of funny sometimes because it's still that north-south type of thing, and it's still there. It's still there. People can whitewash it if you want to, and whatever, but it's still there. And when the economics do come, they come in the wipeout sector. They don't come to help. They come to take over, and that's what a huge problem is all the time. And then when you say something about it, like I'm saying right now, you gain friends and also you gain enemies now. Which I don't care in the first place. The main factor for me, no, because it's right. Time to just say what you really need to say, and then people get mad if they want to, whatever. That's not the point. The point is that once they do come, they come to wipe up the area out and move the people out. That's why they come. They come, and all of a sudden now all the rest of the diversity and all the rest of the people start to get wiped out, and then there's no diversity whatsoever. There's just a transition, a change over to one culture, and I see it. And if I see it, and my brain is clicking smart, well, then others see it too and understand it, but then just mask it in the quiet and the things that are going on, and don't say anything until new buildings are popping up, things are going on, and the area is completely changing, and the people don't have an opportunity to be involved in the prosperity of what this place is. This place is growing, and still, this is a powerful place that we have, and also we're in a huge, powerful state. So everybody has to have a chance and an opportunity. I would like for people to have an opportunity to do great things in that kind of a way. I know it's far away from basketball, but that's my life now. You know, I'm not trying to shoot any more jumpers and that kind of stuff, although they were 50% seasons. But okay.
Yeah. You can find us on social media at Playground Foreground.
Don't forget to check out our YouTube channel and subscribe.
The thing about the teachers and what's going on is that they're the most underpaid, and then the number one most disrespected in what you do. How do I put myself in a place where I love the kids, but I can't get an apartment, I can't put a car, I can't pay the insurance, I can't do those things in order to do what I love. If I can get all those things covered and have a little extra dollars where I can have some savings, right, I'd be glad to just spend all my time with the kids and try to move them forward. But you can do that because they're getting disrespected all over the place. And believe me, when you're in a classroom, how you teach things is very important. It's not about teaching about George Washington and where he went and it's teaching it in the right, proper diction, the proper pieces that are coming out. correcting kids that are saying things wrong. Like, for instance, give me two of them. There is no them.
Right.
There isn't. I'm just saying it. I'm just saying what needs to be said because it's really important. It's them. That's how you say the word, and it's important. It's not that. It's that. It's a snapping T at the end, and that's how the word is said.
That is like for you.
What about ask?
Ask. It's not ax. It's not an AX.
Yeah.
See what I mean? So all those types of things will put you on the other side of opportunity.
It's tough as a white person
I understand.
to have somebody come in and say axe and wonder, should I tell them? That's just not going to work in the success culture.
Tell them, John. Tell them, John. Tell them, and have them take that back somewhere else so that there's pushback on that, because it's important. Because what you're doing is helping them to be included inside of society. Because when people go out, they want to take the culture with them, which is fine, but you have to take it with you, just in a way that if all of us were dropped in Venezuela tomorrow,
Right.
which one of us is going to carry the load to speak the Spanish so that we can move forward and to move forward in that kind of a thing? You have to be able to acquiesce to the rules, regulations, and kind of the requirements of moving forward and having these people include you. But if you keep speaking in a certain way or look in a certain way, all of a sudden you cannot be included because you know what? This structure is mine.
Right.
If we get cast down to Venezuela, what's your role? What are you doing? How are you getting us out?
I think we determined about 4 episodes ago that I can help.
You can start a fire.
I have a Swiss Army
start a
knife,
fire.
and I can start a fire. Don't worry, Rolando. We're going to be in good hands if I'm there. And otherwise, they do not ask me to write, or we'll be in big trouble. If I have to write, I mean,
all these things are important.
Not the content will be good, just nobody will be able to read it.
You know what I mean? And I can speak a little bit in Spanish too. So te hablando lengua de español allí para nosotros. No es un problema. Not a problem for us.
I want to go back to basketball real quick.
Let's
35, 40 years ago, did you wear striped socks too high?
Listen now, with the socks too high stuff, that was smooth, man. To have my 3 pairs
But
of
now
socks.
we can look back.
And I'm looking back and I'm feeling super comfortable in my shoes that were an inch too big, but they accommodated the 3 pairs of socks that I wore. Because it's important, because when you played like me, you're running massive speed and you're stopping and the socks hit the first sock, and you feel it, your feet stay nice and soft and everything like that. So
You want to see running massive speed.
That's it.
NCAA, 3rd grade.
Let me be clear about this. I don't think maybe anybody's ever told you this, or maybe they have. There was a few guys in 7.5248 that were wearing 2 and 3 pairs of socks and never getting in the game. I was one of them.
See?
I was one of them. I didn't have the same issues. It wasn't because I was running too fast or needed that. I just wanted to wear 3 pairs of socks, which made my mom. And then I would get home and she'd be like, "We don't have to wash them because you didn't play."
I look at the pictures that I have today and all kind of stuff too. And sometimes I'm embarrassed of how far things came, how far things have come. And I look at the shorts and I was so happy about the second half of my career where I wore some spandex pants to give it the illusion that something was long.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, the shorts are all up on in your groin and this. But that was the sign of the times. That was the short. The Detroit Pistons and all kinds of people doing different things. But it's
Jordan changed the length of the shorts.
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
And his off court stuff was way big. I mean, he had his whole. He changed all the style.
You remember the University of Michigan when they came out
with
their shorts, and then of course everybody always takes it too far. Now you start to get shorts, and now you start to go past the knee now, and all of a sudden you had some kind of culotte pant on. It was like, well, okay, let's get it back, and now everybody's going back again. Mm-hmm. You can see the kids putting on the short shorts and all those kind of things.
One thing I have to make sure I say, because I'm sure we'll be friends and we'll get to talk about it later, is I had a fascination with number 24. He was my guy.
Yeah,
he was my guy.
Yeah, Mark and
I had our games. Well,
Mark McGuire.
Yes, I mean we know.
Mark McGuire.
Number 24. Yeah. I don't even care. I patterned. I had very limited ability, but I loved the way he used his body because he was wide. Before even Barkley, right? I mean, I think they were since crossed over, but his shorts, because of his body type, he was a heavier guy. He was a load. I mean, the way he could post up, and I just loved his game too.
Tremendously skilled.
Yes.
Tremendously skilled.
Yeah.
And also because of the edge, coming from Chicago without fear.
Yeah.
And when you can play the game without fear and you're just bringing up all that you own onto the court, you could see what at times it was a superior leader on the court. You get this feel from him when he come to the timeouts and put his hand on his waist, almost like a Superman. You sit there with hand on his waist and he'd be talking to people about this and that and the other. And it would be wonderful because he had the supreme skill: low post, shoot the ball, pass the bat. The only kryptonite he had was when he was arguing with Coach Mata.
Yes. Yeah.
Any kind of argument with Coach Mata, he was so young that he was not an old man where you can argue with people and wipe it out in the next minute. You can wipe it out the next minute. But he was the kryptonite of having back and forths with Coach Mata, and they would go off, and then all of a sudden he'd come back just a different player. Be pissed off, upset, mad, don't want to this and that and the other, and it would affect us on the basketball floor.
I call that a baby.
But he was just young. He was just a guy who was young for his age also too, and came out as a sophomore.
Yeah.
And he had freshman age as far as that's concerned, but a tremendous talent. But the other side of what maturity is and leadership was a very, very difficult thing to being able to be had by Mark, especially when he was around Coach Mata, because Coach wasn't a rah-rah kind of guy. You know what I mean? No hugging. I don't remember getting one hug from Coach at all ever in those kinds of situations. So he never cared for everybody in that kind of a way. And we were all a young team, young boys.
But the management was different than that. His bosses were, right? Sanju.
Well, I mean, all of that was a huge straight religious base also too, with Mr. Carter, Mr. Carter, Linda, and of course Miss Mary. Mr. Carter's mom.
Yeah.
Mr. Carter's mom walked in the locker room, and it was like Clint Eastwood walking into a bar, man. It was like the whole quiet. Miss Mary walked through, and it was like everybody was waiting for their blessing. Walk through. You could still walk through the whole locker room, that kind of a thing too, and then to say a few words on being good and community and taking care and let the light of Jesus take care of you and this kind of stuff. Mr. Carter would be standing there with his white hat on, with his head down and kind of stuff too. And Linda would be looking around the team. And we knew that she was the one that was the basketball player. Mr. Carter didn't know anything about basketball. Linda was the one. So we talked to her all the time about basketball, about shooting the ball, this and that and the other. Mr. Carter knew the business side of things and understood that kind of a thing. But it was a special time in Norm Sanju also too, trying to get this team moving forward. But it was straight and tough as far as that's concerned, because it wasn't any bunch of hugging and all that kind of stuff too. It was trying to get this expansion team up and running. And they did do it. I must say they did do a good job in their first draft though, when they got Mark Aguirre. And then Atlanta made a mistake and took Al Wood and didn't take Rolando Blackman. They made a huge mistake.
But what about the draft with Winnington and Farmer and all that nonsense? Did we pass in that draft on the mailman?
Oh, yes. Those were drafts where the pitcher had the blindfold on and was trying to hit the strike zone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's there are mistakes that were made, and we all know that today, and we all know that from when we were playing also too, because at the end of the day, what happens is that you don't get a chance to expand on your team. And when you have Jim Farmers and running a towel it's real all that. Uwe Blob, another name in the first round draft choice. But the important factor with that was that we had great players too. Mark Aguirre made the All-Star team 3 times. I made it 4 times. James Donaldson with the trade made it once. We had Sam Perkins, Roy Tarpley. Come on, Roy. But and then of course I don't want to forget Derek Harper and then Brad Davis. Don't forget.
We're not forgetting Brad Davis.
BD, that stabilizing force, that person that held everything together, taught Derek a lot, taught me a lot. All that guy was there all the time. That's why I look up, and I'm so happy to see his name in the rafters, because without him, we would not have gotten a chance to grow and set everything in its proper place. Because whatever a coach is saying, you have to have a point guard to be able to go execute on the court. And Brad was fantastic.
Yeah, and a great guy.
And super guy.
Super guy.
All the way today.
Would you like to be our guest?
Or is there someone you would like to see on the show?
DM us through social at Playground Foreground.
We look forward to hearing from you.
So here we go. Topics from the hat. Rolando, pick one.
This topic was Game 7, Western Conference Finals. Anytime, listen, John, I'm telling you, anytime you have an opportunity to play against a great team like that Lakers basketball team, I go through all the time. Every time I see them on TV, every time I look around, and all the opportunity, they left an indelible print in my head, simply because it was just a fantastic opportunity in trying to play them there too. And it was one of the most crushing things at the end of the game when we didn't win, but throughout the time, the beginning of the game and all the way throughout, you're trying to surmount these things that a coach has put on the board and put on the board to being able to stop Kareem, stop Magic, put Byron, this, and like, it's not working. It's not working. So as a pro, you're sitting there trying to bring the best of yourself and trying to communicate with everyone around in that kind of a way. And it was one of the most hurtful games in my career. I always remember it as just a painful. I almost had to go back to when I got cut in the 7th grade, 8th grade, and 9th grade from the teams and didn't play in those types of things too. You feel a slash across your gut because there's a 7'2" guy that could play the game no matter how hard you got him off the block. He could still put that, and it was a pain. And then the other side is that there's a 6'9" point guard running the ball down the court, and it's not funny, and it's not what you said. Make him go. That doesn't work, and no one has made him do that. He has a big 6'9" guys worthy over here. I can't come off of Byron. He can shoot the basketball. Michael Cooper's over here hounding me the whole game. He's like that game. He was making sure that he was in, like making sure that he was attached to me. I could always feel him in that kind of a way. So I got limited shots that game as far as trying to ignite. I can remember trying to get there, and it was not a chance to get the ball. The ball was going other places all over the place. It was one of the games that still bothers me the most today, because we were trying to do the very best we possibly could to beat this team, and we came up short. So it always bugs me no end to play against the Lakers in that game, and it's a rip inside of my system. And it'll always be there. I'll live with it and die with it. It's exactly what's happening.
Where'd you watch the game?
I remember watching it. I also remember, I remember seeing pictures after the game. Like, you guys look just totally defeated. And guess what? The fans, I remember feeling totally defeated. Like, so upset.
Were you not at Lauren Levy's with me?
I don't remember where I was. I just remember the game.
Yeah,
I remember the feeling, actually, as a fan. I remember the feeling. Like, however it was to play in it, as a fan, it was like, oh my, we're going to take them. We're going to take them.
That's to go to the finals, to play Detroit in the championships.
And so then Mac Brink, Vic Reynolds, and I drove out to the airport in Mac's convertible.
Yeah.
I was in the back seat, met the team, off the tarmac on the plane, to the bus.
Wow, tremendous.
McGuire comes back off the bus, through the fence, screams at us, we'll be back next year. And then by February next year, he was a Piston.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember all.
Rolando,
all of that.
Usually John says I didn't invite him. I don't think I was invited to go to the airport. They wanted the players to show up. Not anybody that was just cheering for them. All right, we're gonna do another topic. Okay,
that was painful. Let's see if I can survive. If I can survive this. Let's see what's up there. Woo! Confidence, baby, confidence. That 1987.
You know what that was?
yeah.
1987 Seattle All-Star Game.
Oh,
and that was one of the most special times in my life, simply because it was my 3rd All-Star Game.
Yeah.
And you're having an opportunity now at the end of that basketball game. Once the game was going on, throughout the game, I said to myself, I'm gonna shoot the daggone basketball. So I told EJ Magic, I said, yo, when I'm open, man, hit me. Just so, and he was like, all right, Ro. So Magic was like, and every time I touched it, I was like, trying to shoot the basketball, and it was like 9 for 15. got the free throws, put all those things together, and was able to have a great game. At the end of that basketball game, when we were going through all the things for the last shot, Riley was in there explaining everything that's going on with what was happening. And at the end of the play, he looked and said to Rolando, "If everything breaks down, you're going to be coming to the ball. They'll get you the basketball, and just do what you normally do." And listen though, when a coach like that tells you something like that, it was like it was like you felt it like. That's exactly how you felt. Seriously, just like that. And I got the basketball. I turned, ran, got the basketball, turned. Immediately it was Bird. I was like, move, boom, boom, boom. Went right past him and decided with the look back not to shoot a jumper. Let me go to the cup. And when I went to the cup, there comes Jordan, Isaiah, and Dominique, and Isaiah made the mistake of just jumping up there and slamming me. But the idea of the whole thing was right after that, at the same time, the buzzer goes off. And when that buzzer goes off, I look up and there's no time on the clock and I got to go hit 2 free throws. So you can see me. You can see it in the tape. When you look, everybody can look at the tape. You can see immediately. I go into row mode. Immediately wipe the left hand, wipe the forehead, make sure I get a little wet. Make sure I get my hand ready to make sure that I have the grip on the ball. And I'm going through my thing and I turn around. And Isaiah Thomas, who I played on the Olympic basketball team with, we were the starting guards on the Olympic basketball team in 1980. And he knows me because we talk about a lot of different things. Instead, he runs up on me like, "Punk, you're not gonna make these free throws. You have to." And I answered him immediately, spontaneously answered him, "Get out of my face!" Blah, 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 blah. And I remembered. I said, "You could see in the tail shut down like." Shut it down, because I had to be internal to myself at that time, because at the end of the day, man, you got 2 free throws in an all-star game, and it's a worldwide piece. And you could feel your body, you could feel you gotta get that scared guy, that nervousness, you gotta get him out of you. You gotta get, because he comes right away. You can nervous, you can feel it, and you're just telling yourself, confidence, man, get out of here. For the first free throw, take the free throw, and it's a little short. It bounces on the front, hits the back, and goes in. But now I'm saying, I have the distance now. I got the distance. And I turn around, and I got the distance, and here comes Isaiah again with that kind of thing. I didn't say anything to him this time. I just laughed and looked at him, and him and Magic are over here laughing. "Oh, you're a punk, you." But the thing about after the free throw, though, I looked over and there's Dr. J doing this. Oh my God. And then I backed off and I said, "Man, even Dr. J is talking trash." I said, okay. So I go back up there, and you can feel the nervousness, and you just put it together. And you can feel it. Confidence, baby. Confidence. You tell yourself confidence to get everything off of you. Confidence, baby. Confidence, baby. Confidence, baby. Confidence. Look at the thing. Look at the rim. And you put the ball up. Confidence, baby. Confidence! The ball goes through. I turn around and experienced some of the greatest feel you could ever feel with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar coming over, giving you the 5, and all the players from that kind of a thing. I could never experience something like that other than if it was a championship game. Yeah. It would feel something. But that was a special time to come through, because even years now, today, I still meet people in the airport, meet people all over the world. So I remember those 2 free throws. Yeah. Imagine if it was something else, like, oh man, you could have hit those free throws. That'd have been slashing me for the rest of my life. I've been getting those cuts.
I remember thinking, because we talked about it earlier, that you said you measured, like, I have the distance. And today it's like, now it's just emotion. And I thought you always had that. Like, I felt like you just always, you had a rhythm and a routine.
I practiced all the time.
I know, but it sounds like in that moment you were questioning your... Because
I went to the free throw line at the first one with nobody on the line, in open volume of all the things. So the thing about basketball is that you have to bring all of this into a focus. You have to come from all of this, people, this and that to the others, to when you're looking at the rim, when you look at that rim, you have to get to this. And if you can get to that, then that means now you can be successful. The rim holds 2 balls. So you got to be way off, dude, in order to keep missing all the damn time. So here we go. The rim holds 2 balls, and you get in there. And the first one, was short a little bit. I could feel, boom, boom, and I had the feel for that. So I said, "Nah, I got it. Here comes Isaiah. All that noise, go on about your business, and now I got to deal with myself, because in everything is you're human. You're human. It's not a machine.
Yeah.
You're a human being. You're sitting there. People are yelling and screaming all over the place. This is the All-Star game. Your peers are watching you. The world is watching." And I said, I the second one, I knew the distance. I knew the feel of the distance, and still said, "Confidence, baby, confidence, confidence, baby, confidence," and yelled out confidence at the last one. And it was a swish right through right there, and turned around and went to the bench. It was one of the most wonderful feeling ever to get slap five with all the fellas over there, and also just galvanized the thing where they're thinking, "Man, this boy could play," which is exactly what you want out of your peers. So it was a special time.
Well, this has been. I think we could probably talk for about
Another
2
2
hours.
hours.
Yeah,
Yes.
and we will.
there you go.
We won't put everybody through it. We got some other topics to discuss, and we'll save those. But Jon, thank you as always, and Rolando. I know that I'm one of the things about this podcast is who our friends are and introducing friends, and I hope I get to see you again as a friend on the other side, to not with the table between us. But thanks for joining us on the playground.
Glad to be here. Thanks to
such great wisdom, and I'm gonna have you. I'm gonna get an autograph when we're done. So just know that this book is gonna probably be with me for a while.
Do I have Jon, do I have to sign a limited potential book?
We're unlocking it.
You can cross it out.
Right.
I feel funny doing that. Like, wait a minute.
Well, it has been such a treat, and wishing you all good things in the year ahead. And we'll be watching and seeing what you're doing. And the podcast is always here to help. Just know that.
Thank you so very much. You'll
Thanks,
see that
Ron.
in the foundation.
Thanks.
Thank you, Jon. Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it.
Last one.
Do that again, but more animated this time.
Oh, no. I'm telling you.